The next speaker will be John Strafford, and after him, Michael Knowles, and I regret to say that Jeannie France Hayhurst will have to be the last speaker from the rostrum. John Strafford is the Wessex Area Treasurer. He's a chartered accountant, and he'll speak for the motion.
Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, this motion calls for the renewed effort to set out and promote our vision for the 1990s. But it is not just renewed effort that is required, but other things as well. We must improve our organisation in the constituencies. We must improve our organisation at Conservative Central Office. And looking at the party's accounts, we must improve the income of the party, and we must improve the ways in which the control of expenditure of that hard-earned income is spent. We must have democratic accountability within the Conservative Party. We need to plan not just for the next general election, but for the general election after that as well. And with this in mind, I hope that Chris Patten will serve a term of 5 years as party chairman. All those in favour, please show. That's democracy. We need to raise our horizons, to tell the people of our successes. You know, Chairman, 2 years ago, at this conference, the grassroots of this party, you people here, we took a decision, a historic decision, regarding organising the party in Northern Ireland. What has happened since then? In Northern Ireland, 11 Conservative associations have been set up. We have seen Conservative councillors elected in North Down, Lisbon, Carrickfergus, Larne and Coleraine. We have seen an area council set up, and it is time, Sir Basil, that that area council was recognised by the National Union. We have seen quota being paid by the Northern Ireland constituencies to Central Office, and all this without an area office. Contrast all this activity with that of the Labour Party, who harbour their troops-out supporters that share platforms with members of Sinn Féin. At the Labour conference last week, it decided that the Labour Party will not organise in Northern Ireland. Not surprising, really, for Labour Party policy is to give away Northern Ireland, to break up the United Kingdom. I can think of no more shameful a policy of any political party that aspires to govern this nation. But do not worry, because at the next general election, the people of this nation will dump that policy into the dustbin of history, together with all Labour policies, together with the Labour Party itself. This motion asks us to set out our vision for the 1990s. Let me set out my little vision for Northern Ireland. Chris Patten said on Tuesday that we must trust the people, and that includes the people of Northern Ireland. The time has come to give democracy back to the people, to treat it like any other part of the United Kingdom. And there are a couple of simple steps we could start with. First of all, we could add Northern Ireland to Michael Heseltine's review of local government. And dare I say it, let the Irish Republic have no more say in the internal affairs of Northern Ireland than the government of the United Kingdom has a say in the internal affairs of the Irish Republic. Chairman, the United Kingdom is a family, and when a member of the family is going through trouble and strife, we help them by saying to that member, we love you. Let this conference, let this party, let this government say to the British people, but in particular to the people of Northern Ireland, we love you. Your cause is our cause, and together we will win.
I greatly enjoyed all those speeches, and if I may say so, I particularly enjoyed the speech from John Strafford. I welcome John's suggestion that we do need a full dialogue in the party about the future funding of the party and about our future organisation. And I'll come back to that point a little bit later, if I may. I also very much sympathise with much of what John said about Northern Ireland, a beautiful part of our United Kingdom where I was privileged to spend 2 years as a minister. I have always believed, and believed passionately, in the importance of the Conservative Party standing and fighting and winning in every part of the United Kingdom. I've been to speak in support of the Conservative Party in Northern Ireland and will go and speak and campaign again. I went to campaign in the Upper Bann by-election for our excellent candidate Colette there, and I'll always remember that because it was the last time that I saw the funniest man I've ever known and the nicest and bravest, Ian Gow. I don't wish there to be any doubt at all. We want Conservative councillors in Northern Ireland. We want Conservative members of Parliament from Northern Ireland. I've never seen how we can tell people in Northern Ireland they should behave like the rest of us and then denying them the opportunity for voting Conservative or Labour at a general election. I did take one exception to what John said. I wasn't entirely convinced by that exercise in guided democracy. You'll be hearing from my solicitors later. I thought there were one or two hands that went up a trifle reluctantly, and we have taken names and addresses for future reference. But the really serious point that John made, and it's one that I want to come back to, is that we cannot go on taking party organisations seriously for the 6 months before an election and forget about it for the 4.5 years afterwards. I was working out last night, I guess a number of you do the same thing. I was working out last night how many party conferences I'd been to. And I got to just over 20 before running out of recollections. But the first party conference that I came to was here. And I can remember standing over there under the gallery and not talking, not because I was particularly well behaved, but because the man speaking, and it was the first time I'd ever heard him, the man speaking was Ian MacLeod. was a speech in which he talked about Conservatives bringing together, and it's a quote which the Prime Minister has used a number of times, bringing together efficiency and justice. And I guess when a lot of us look back over the speeches that we've heard and the speeches that have really impressed us, Ian MacLeod appears again and again in that sort of personal anthology. Greatest peroration I've ever heard was Ian's at one conference when he said, and some of you I guess were there, the Liberals can dream their dreams, the Socialists can scheme their schemes, but we have work to do. It was true then, and my goodness, it's true again today. All those years that I've been coming to conferences, and I tell you this, I cannot remember a year when the hall was fuller for debate after debate. It's a far cry from the great open spaces at last week's Labour conference. Great open spaces isn't, of course, a reference to the mental abilities of our opponents. Nor, if I can engage a bit in that sort of flattery of the audience, which always goes down particularly well with an audience, nor can I remember a year when the speeches from the body of the Kirk were better. And effective local political campaigning and to have more money. We still rely overwhelmingly on all of you to pay for our political activities across the country. Let me say a bit more about funding, which I've discussed on a number of occasions, as you can imagine, with John Strafford and others. I've been trying to develop with your representatives, the National Executive of the National Union, a more open dialogue about both funding and about party organisation. What Peter Lane, Basil Feldman and I have started, I can assure you we intend to continue. This year, for example, we produced our accounts in a more open and a more accessible form and a lot earlier. I then went to the National Executive to discuss them, to answer questions about them, because I want people to know why we need your money and what we do with it. It's worth bearing in mind, I think, two facts. First, at the last general election campaign, the Transport and General Workers Union alone gave more to the Labour Party than the total contributions from all British businesses to the Conservative Party put together. One union gave more than all businesses. That's on Labour's own figures. And a second point, in the Conservative Party, we don't have Labour's link between money and manifesto, between money and MPs. The CBI don't control 87% of the votes at our conference. The Institute of Directors don't have 40% of the votes when we elect a new leader. The Chambers of Commerce don't have 40% of the votes when we select parliamentary candidates. Labour was, is, and for the foreseeable future will remain a wholly owned subsidiary of the trade unions.